Perfect. Welcome. Good morning or good afternoon, good night for many of you. I am Alfonso Cerón, Economic Affairs Officer at Statistic Division at ECLAC. And I want to let you know that we offer, this webinar offers simultaneous interpretation in 3 languages, Spanish, English, and French. And you can access the interpretation by clicking on the global shape icon located at the bottom bar of the platform. Look for it and you will be fine during this session. We are pleased to begin the second day of the international webinar on measuring illicit financial flows. To briefly recap, yesterday we focused on crime-related IFF. We begin with the presentation of the global concept framework for SDG indicator 16.4.1 delivered by UNODC and UNCTAD. This framework distinguishes between the generation of illicit income and cross-border management of those resources. And it is essential for ensuring coherence and comparability across countries. UNODC then presented its modular methodology, which makes it possible to reconstruct illicit markets, such as drug trafficking, human trafficking, and migrant smuggling, and transform fragmented information into monetary and cross-border estimates. One key takeaway was that even in countries with strong statistical systems, standardizing the most basic variables across institutions remains a major challenge. We also review a case of study on the Balkan route, which was made by Martin, which illustrated how operational data, seizure information, and network analysis can be combined to estimate the IFFs linked to heroin and methamphetamine trafficking. The exercise showed both the potential of the methodology and the inherent complexity of illicit markets. Finally, Mexico shared its national experience applying the UN framework, and the UNODC and INEGI, the Center of Excellence, presented lessons from 5 pilot countries in the region. Key messages included the importance of institutional coordination, improving data quality and harmonization, and the last one, the need to move from pilot exercise to regular institutional process. In summary, Day 1 highlighted 3 central messages. First, we already have a solid methodologies to estimate crime-related IFFs. 2, the main challenges are operational data availability, coordination, and standardization. And 3, even preliminary exercise lead to important institutional benefits. Well, today we will turn to the other dimension of the indicator 16.4.1, which is tax and commercial illicit financial flows. And through today, we will have the UNCTAD presentation about the global methodology, along with the data and metadata templates for official SDG reporting. Then we will hear the national experiences, but we will move a little bit the agenda. First, we will give the floor to Africa and Asia Pacific, and then to Latin America, including advances and challenges from Mexico, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Bangladesh, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. We will close then with an interactive discussions and QA to consolidate key insights and identify share priorities. Please use the chat from this platform to let us know all your questions, and we will take all of them in at the last part of this session, and or maybe if we see that there are a lot, maybe we will stop between the presentations to try to have the answers of them. And with this overview, we formally open the day 2, and we welcome and I want to thank Boyan and Diana, who will make an overview of the methodology in tax and commercial IFF, its key indicators, and the SDG reporting templates and technical guidance. And now I invite Boyan, please, and after Diana Camarini to present or to provide this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alfonso. Dear colleagues, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, I guess, to the ECLAC region. First of all, apologies from my end. I am experiencing technical difficulties, so I am unable to turn on my camera. It says it doesn't work, but I trust you will believe me that it is me. It is not the AI. Okay, I'm gonna. So we have a joint presentation together with Diana on the methods to measure tax and commercial IFFs, and then with a specific section or session on the SDG reporting. Diana, I will try and share my screen.
Yeah, if you can do it, because it seems that WebEx has lost access to my presentation, although it's there, but it doesn't allow me to share the presentation window. So let's see if it works from your end.
Okay, I am sharing.
Yeah.
Can you see it? Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, let me just put it in a presentation mode. All still good?
Yes,
yeah?
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
So I was told we have 2 hours for this, no? For the presentation?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay. So we will try and be brief. So I think we have about 25 minutes altogether. So a quick welcome to the methods to measure tax and commercial IFFs. So UNCTAD, as has been explained yesterday, is, let's say, in charge or is a custodian for the tax and commercial illicit financial flows, and we have seen what illicit tax and commercial illicit financial flows are. Still, we're going to go through a few of the stops today. After the brief introduction to the tax and commercial, each of the 3 groups of the tax and commercial IFFs to be represented from the methodological perspective. I am going to go through those elements relatively quickly, because this has already been explained and the participants know about it. And then last but not least, I think the most important element of today's actual presentation is really on the SDG data reporting. So on the tax and commercial illicit financial flows, so we have 3 major groups. So we have the misinvoicing, so trade misinvoicing part. Then we have the profit shifting or the aggressive tax avoidance. And then we have the tax evasion or tax evasion by individuals. For each of those 3, let's call them bubbles, as presented here, UNCTAD guidelines propose a pair of methods. So 2 methods for each of those. Now, why, somebody may wonder why there are 2 methods. There are 2 different methods because they are using different data as a source, and they're exploiting different capabilities that are present in various national setups. It means that a country may use, for example, partner country method plus, which may be potentially easily or more easier adapted or adopted than the price filter method plus. What happens if a country is able and capable of applying both methods? Then the 2 methods can work as a cross-validation of each other, or they can act as a complement. For example, in the trade misinvoicing area, partner country method can address some of the major areas from the more aggregated perspective, whereas the price filter method can then be used for a more detailed application of it. So let me go briefly through those 6 methods. So first is the partner country method plus. We are specifically marking the plus side because this is really a crucial element of the method as it has been developed or applied elsewhere. The main concept of the method is building on the mirroring trade. So exports of A to B, comparing to imports of B from A, and whether those numbers are aligned, whether they tell us the same story. So this is the main concept, which says that if the numbers are not aligned, there is a discrepancy, and this discrepancy is potentially leading to sign of illicit financial flows. We are specifically critical on that element that we note that discrepancy itself is not trade misinvoicing. We need to do a lot of adjustments. We need to do a lot of inspections, insights in detail to understand what are the reasons for those observed discrepancies. The method is actually addressing several of those discrepancies. For example, it looks at the trade system and compares. If two countries have the same trade system, let's say they have both general trade system, then of course there's no adjustment needed. But if one country has a general trade system, the other one has a special trade system. For example, they are excluding, let's call them export processing zones, then of course there have to be some sort of adjustments done. Similar on the valuation, it's a typical thing in the trade discrepancies, the FAB valuation, so to compare for those, and then for the partner country attribution. What are we talking about? Are there any re-exports? Are there any merchanting areas that we need to adjust? And then further on, we need to take a look at other adjustments. For example, the timing. End of the year export from China will most likely not reach, let's say, Ecuador in the same year. It will actually maybe there in January the following year. So we have a discrepancy there, which is not illicit financial flows. It is really the problem of misaligned timing. So in all of these adjustments that have to be done, we have to consider national and global data sources. The first one is, for example, the UNCTAD, but then we have bilateral trade, and we have obviously national data sources, national customs as well. And then we have a huge emphasis on the collaboration across institutions and partners and the partner countries as well, to actually really get down to the bottom of those discrepancies. So what is driving those? Rushing on to the next method, which is the so-called price filter method plus, is looking to detecting abnormal prices. So these are the prices that are deviating from the arm's length. So price filter essentially is a range of, let's say, normal prices or acceptable prices. So we have like a central price, let's say international benchmark price, and then we know we can go always a little bit up and down depending on when the trade is taking place, who are the trading partners, how far away they are, and so on. But then we have a limit above which we are talking about the overpricing, and a lower bound price under which we're talking about the underpricing. So challenges are obviously in determining what the central price is. Are we looking at the market price filters if market prices are available? Are we looking at statistical ones, which obviously cause further challenges? Then we have a question of the heterogeneity of the products. We know that international trade is being conducted according to the 6-digit harmonized systems, so the HS, but even within the 6-digit HS, we have so many different products, different quality, different other elements, aspects, which actually require us that we consult experts so that we can break those down and we can define what are the homogeneous products and then observe those products as we move along. There is one thing that I need to stress out here with on the limitations, is the price filters change over time. They are also different by commodity, by partners, even by flow, imports and exports. So all these elements have to be brought in, first of all, with a collaboration with the customs and commodities experts. A commodities expert will know, okay, this is the source, this is the correct price, and then this is how we can price them. We have to work on the transaction level customs data. So we're really talking about the microdata. And we need to also consider whether the trading partners are related or non-related. because if they are related, we are actually potentially talking about the transfer mispricing and the profit shifting areas, which is important for conceptual purposes. On the profit shifting, so the two methods are, one is the global distribution of profits, which is essentially a so-called tax semi-elasticity approach. It's a research approach, but it assumes that multinational enterprises that are operating in various countries are shifting profits to lower tax units. So if the two countries have, let's say, 5 and 15% profit tax, then of course the multinational enterprise is going to try and move all its profits to a lower tax country to pay as little profit as they can. And any systematic deviation from what is supposed to be a predicted profitability based on the inputs of capital, labor, and all that, this is earmarked as a profit shifting. A data source for this is country by country reports, which are detailed at the unit level. However, these are not always available depending on the country. Therefore, some case studies have been done on the tax returns within a country. So to those a country has direct access to, however, they may not cover fully all their sister companies working in other countries and so on. There are also other elements, for example, which tax rate to use, effective tax rate or the other tax rates, but the effective one has been actually proven to be most important one. And of course, in the end, results that are coming out of this method, which is a research or econometric method, have to be validated with the experts. Do they make sense with respect to the location and the economic activity of the unit we are inspecting? Again, data here are the microdata. And then according to this, if data are available, then the effective tax rate should be calculated by the unit. But then there are also obviously challenges. There are specific assumptions and the values of the parameters. For example, the method does not allow for negative taxes or negative profits to be reported or to be calculated. And some of the units do report negative taxes. For example, they have tax cuts or tax exemptions or even tax subsidies. Or on the other hand, they are reporting that they don't have profits, they have losses. So how do we go about this? So there's a lot of ongoing activities on this side to actually address those issues and check the validity with the experts. Another method, this is so-called method number 4, is comparing multinational enterprises to domestic enterprises, and then to identify whether there is any differences in the two groups that could be signs of profit shifting. For example, if multinational enterprises have a larger labor productivity or anything else, how come they don't produce or report much higher taxes? So these are some of the signs, so that the method is really building on various data sources, various variables to bring in, and to then say, okay, how can we compare a multinational enterprise to a domestic enterprise and make them comparing like to like as much as possible, and then say why are they different in their profitability that are being reported. Again, this is being used on the microdata. It has two major phases. So first, to identify which multinational enterprises are avoiding taxes. And the second one is to really measure the amount of illicit financial flows. This is a simple case of the application of the method in the Italian national system, which is actually, why is it important? Why is it here? No, it's not really just for the list of all the variables, because of course, when you go and look at the method itself, all these details are explained, so you can actually go and see, okay, I need number of workers, I need the turnover, value added, compensation costs, imports, exports, and so on. But what is important here is that it clearly shows that various databases that are lying within the national statistical system have to be brought together, and of course, this is being done through a single identifier. So a unique identifier in business registers, in structural business statistics, international trade statistics in this particular case. There are various challenges, obviously, with this method. It can easily be applied in a well-developed or big economy, but what happens, we have small economies, smaller number of units. Some units are not involved in a specific activity. For example, I know there was a case where mining industry only had multinational enterprises. There were no domestic enterprises. So how do we go about this? So there are some, let's say, recipes how to address it to actually apply this method. Tax evasion by individuals has two methods. We say method number 5, which is the flows of undeclared offshore assets, and number 6, flows of the offshore financial wealth. Both of the methods are more in the testing phase than the previous methods. That's why we've put this construction site or symbol up here. But the idea with the method number 5, so to look at the undeclared offshore assets, is to really look at what is internationally reported, so by other countries, and the other one is what our citizens are reporting to our national authorities. And if there is a discrepancy, and if the international reported value is higher than the reported value from national authorities, then this is a sign of illicit financial flows. I say specifically a sign because there are various assumptions behind it. For example, various categories of illicit financial flows may come in. So we're looking from the crime side, we're looking from the tax and commercial side, and then we need to distinguish and to ensure that we are not double counting illicit financial flows when we sum this up. And the major question is the stock versus the flow. By doing so, we're simply measuring a stock in a country. We're not measuring flow. Illicit financial flows is a flow. So we need to find a way how to actually address it. So there was a case by OECD a couple of years ago in South Africa. They used various data sources, and this is very interesting and important. So they're using national tax authorities' personal income tax forms. They're using the data from the voluntary disclosure programs and the data exchange within the CRS, Common Reporting Standard. So those are obviously signs of a well-developed and integrated national tax authorities with others. So this is where we get this discrepancy between national and international ones. If those data are not available, then of course it's going to be more of a challenge to actually apply this method, and we have seen this in our work so far. Finally, the last method is on the offshore financial wealth by country, which is, again, let's pull it more under the under construction sign. What is happening in this method is that it is looking at the unreported wealth that is held by the individuals outside their countries. It is a top-down approach. It really starts from the global wealth and how it's being recorded, and then to identify the global unreported wealth, and then it breaks it down by the countries of ownership, if you want to put it this way. Again, this method is being built on various assumptions, such as the non-compliance rate, how to divide the offshore wealth into deposits and portfolio investments, how to actually address the capital gains or the wealth consumptions. Again, we are transforming from a stock to a flow measure. So all these elements are critical in the sense of making this method usable, but not 100% reliable. What has been shown is that when data exchange happens, where there's agreements, including confidentiality issues, then there can be more of this data exchange that can lead to proper application of the method. Our colleagues from ESCAP have actually done a very good working paper on the estimating illicit financial flows from the offshore wealth, applying this method, and not only this, extending it a little bit with the new data sources, updated sources. So it really is building on various databases, and it is applying this method to actually come up with the numbers of a that could serve as a rough estimate of the illicit financial flows. There's a bunch of materials that we are using in our work. And of course, all of this is available freely and online. And at this stage, I'm gonna mute myself and hand over to Diana to ask her to guide us through the SDG data reporting.
Thank you, Bojan.
Diana, I will keep sharing my screen, so you just tell me the next slide. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Bojan. So I will now share a few tips and tricks to report data on SDG indicator 16.4.1 on tax and commercial IFFs, thanks to also efforts made to generate templates for the reporting of data and metadata on specifically on tax and commercial IFFs. Next slide, please, Bojan. Just as a recap of yesterday, we have seen that illicit financial flows is the inward and outward illicit financial flows are being identified as indicators to measure achievement towards targets, SDG target 16.4. And there are many targets and indicators in the SDG indicator framework, and all of them are published into the global indicator framework made available by UNSD and globally accessible and freely accessible by anyone. So this is how the welcome page looks like. You have a link below. You can access to a database of all SDG indicators, including results on this indicator. The specific page is about SDG 16.4.1. There are 9 countries that have reported statistics on crime-related illicit financial flows so far from 2015 and 2023. And you can access both series that these data are made available. So specifically on inward illicit financial flows and outward illicit financial flows. You can see those in the ribbon below, the 2 blue boxes. Next slide, please. So how does the reporting of SDG indicator is done? And specifically, we see this about the previous estimates, but then please, next slide. Thank you. The next one, maybe. So the objective is to, the previous one, please. Sorry. The reporting of SDG happens regularly by UNSD. So UNSD publishes data on all SDG indicators, including the one on illicit financial flows. And the reporting happens normally 4 times a year. Every year, there is a global campaign that UNSD opens to the custodian agencies to collect data on the indicators they are custodian of. Specifically, UNCTAD and UNODC are custodian of this indicator. So there is one big campaign that happens usually in February for the publication of the 2020. Let's say this year it would be 2024 data for the previous year, but submission of the data and publication of the data is possible 4 times a year. So in UNCTAD and UNODC are collecting the data directly from the member states so that they could report those estimates to the UNSD for publication. Specifically for the tax and commercial IFFs, we have planned a data collection format that allows the disaggregation of IFF estimates into different disaggregation options. The first one is the IFF type. So estimates are possible to be reported by type, which corresponds to the IFF classification types that we have seen yesterday. So tax and commercial IFFs, illegal market corruption, and exploitation type and terrorist financing. But also for each specific predicate activity or crime at the origin of IFF, it's possible to report estimates. Specifically on the tax and commercial one, it is possible to report estimates on each of the 3 types of tax and commercial IFFs that have been explained before, namely trade mix invoicing, tax evasion, and aggressive tax avoidance. These are the core minimum requirements to report the data on illicit financial flows. In addition, we have the possibility to allow reporting of countries of illicit financial flows estimated by economic sector, by geographic disaggregation, destination of origin, and by commodity. This is specific to the tax and commercial IFFs. UNODC with the crime-related IFFs may have additional ones. But in the templates that have been developed by UNCTAD, specifically on the tax and commercial IFF, you will have the possibility to report, for example, on the trade misinvoicing by commodity type, or on the aggressive tax avoidance by economic sector, and also add on the geographic location of in destination or origin of funds for the tax evasion. You will see that in detail later. Next slide, please. So the reporting cycle, as mentioned, starts with the country, the focal point institution, ideally, so it could be the National Statistical Office or whatever focal point institution is being nominated to collect the data and produce the data on IFFs, would report estimates on tax and commercial IFF directly to UNCTAD. And if estimates are reviewed and checked by UNCTAD first, and if estimates are not valid, there will be a discussion with the member states to make sure that these are aligned with the minimum requirements of reporting, which we'll see shortly. And then once these are being validated in the formats, then these are reported by UNST. The same happens with UNODC. So we expect estimates to be reported on crime-related IFFs directly to UNODC, which will report then once validated to the statistics division. Next slide, please. Here are the minimum requirements for reporting of tax and commercial IFF estimates. I presume some of them are also applying for the crime-related IFFs, but I will be more specific here on the tax and commercial IFF only. First of all, we expect the estimates to be reported using separate inward and outward IFFs as prescribed by the SDG indicator, which is separating the two series on inward and outward IFFs. We do not expect the reporting of estimates that include the sum between inward and outward flows or the netting out, so maybe difference between the inward and outward flows or vice versa. Estimates are supposed to be reported also by calendar year and without doing any sum or average over a period. Estimates are also required to be ideally reported in United States dollars. If your countries produce estimates in the original currency, the UN Treasury makes available in a website exchange rate that are recommended to be used for conversion into the United States dollar. Just as a reminder that the indicator is supposed to be published in current United States dollars. DFF estimates need to be subtype specific, so we do not expect sum or average of different IFF subtypes between, let's say, trade misinvoicing and aggressive tax avoidance so far, but this may change soon as we progress with the idea of aggregating estimates, but not in this case. We would like to have a disaggregated compulsory reporting by IFF type. And then specifically for the tax and commercial IFF, we would like to have also method-specific estimates being reported for the specific reason that making estimates specific by method may help explaining the results of each estimate and how the process has been followed to reach a certain estimate. The forms that we will show shortly, I will show you shortly, are allowing for the reporting of midpoint estimates, but also lower and upper bound estimates are allowed. This specifically will facilitate the estimates reporting of numbers that are the result of processes where maybe the statistical office is not sure which type of let's say a parameter to use, and this will allow to follow different options and also be flexible in terms of the interpretation of estimates. Next slide, please. So I will show you now the few screenshots of the Excel form that has been prepared by UNCTAD to collect estimates of tax and commercial IFFs, and then we'll see the metadata file. For the Excel files, we will have, first of all, an instruction sheet repeating a little bit the requirements of the estimates that we've seen before. And then there are 5 sheets in the Excel. 2 are allocated to report or collect estimates on the midpoint estimates, so by year, disaggregated by year, by IFF subtype and method. And another sheet is allocating space for reporting of lower and upper bound estimates by year and subtype and method too. You will have in each sheet a first top table to collect inward IFFs and then outward IFFs in the same sheet separately. Then there are the 3 non-mandatory but optional but recommended sheets that could allow the reporting of IFF estimates by IFF type or subtype. In this case, the trade misinvoicing, where estimates could be reported by year, harmonized code of commodity code at 2 digits, but you could potentially expand to include more digits. The second sheet is allocated to report estimates on aggressive tax avoidance by year and by economic sector. And the third one is specifically made available for the collection of estimates of tax evasion with disaggregation of data by year and country of origin and country of destination. So the first 2 on the top will be regarded as mandatory reporting sheets, either the midpoint estimates or the lower and upper bound estimates, while the second one is optional. It's up to the country to decide the reporting by year, by trade misinvoicing, aggressive tax avoidance, and evasion for the different commodity or sectors, but is recommended because they will provide more details. For example, if certain countries have decided to focus on certain commodities, let's say more at risk, they will have the opportunity to report and flag specifically the estimates for each commodity. Or if they have certain sectors more at risk of aggressive tax avoidance, we'll have also the opportunity to see how IFF vary across the different sectors. But again, this is up to the country to report this. Next slide, please. This is just to have you, can you please scroll to see all the animation, please? I'm not sure if these are available. Yeah, so this first sheet is the one on the midpoint estimates. So you will have a number of years where you can report the estimates on. You can potentially expand, and then you will see, as I said, separate space for trade misinvoicing, aggressive tax avoidance, tax evasion by individuals, and also by method. And you will see on the top the inward table and on the bottom the outward table. This is what we'll suggest as a minimum again, and the alternative will be minimum lower and upper bound estimates. Next slide, please. Finally, to be accompanied by the Excel sheet are templates that we prepared to report metadata and to clarify a little bit what was the estimation process followed by practitioner that worked on the measurement of illicit financial flows and on the production of such estimates. So we have prepared 2 templates. 2 types of templates are, one is dedicated to trade misinvoicing and the second one on aggressive tax avoidance. Each template is to be compiled for each method separately. So if a country has decided to measure trade misinvoicing and applied both method number 1 and method number 2, and also would like to report estimates on these 2 methods, they are required to compile 2 separate sheets. So twice, 1 per method, let's say. The same template, but 1 per method. Here, the basic questions will be regarding the time coverage, the geographical coverage. For example, if in the measurement of trade misinvoicing, some countries have been, let's say, for example, excluded because they didn't have any data on the partner data or data published in the UN Comtrade. Also, the product coverage is important. Estimate granularity, methodological steps and adjustment, and aggregation with other estimates are space to where all these details can be reported. This is a really crucial document for supporting the numbers, and we'll try to also condense the information collected here to be reported to UNSD so that all the details can be reported, also the reservation that you have regarding the estimates and the limitation can be reported there. We also welcome suggestions for improving the application of the method in the country. So this is also space for you to report what worked and what didn't work, and how you would like to suggest that method could be improved based on your experience. Next slide, please. I think we are finished, right? Should be the last one. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Diana.
Thanks a lot, Bojan and Diana. Well, they gave us, they provide us an overview of the methodology and key indicators used for measuring tax and commercial IFFs, as well as the SDG reporting templates and technical guidance. But now we have, and thank you for that, for both of you. And but we have to move on because we are over time. We are going to move to the country experience. We don't have any questions yet. If you remember, if you want to share any question or doubts or something, you have the chat in this platform to let us know about it. Okay. Well, we are going to move now with please Idris Mohamed. He's head of the IFF unit in Federal Inland Revenue Service in Nigeria, who is going to present its experience. Well, Idris, the floor is yours.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fellow participants, colleagues, and partners, depending on where you are. I am pleased to present Nigeria's experience in measuring and curbing illicit financial flows. My name is Idris Mohamed Abdullahi. I am in the IFF and Process of Crime Department, and I also double as the head of liaison with anti-graft and law enforcement agencies, coordinating IFF, money laundering, beneficial ownership in the service. I also happen to be the focal person for the DA15 project in Nigeria. So I'm pleased to present Nigerians' experience in measuring and curbing illicit financial flows. Actually, Nigerians' journey is a unique one because we have combined policy reforms, institutional coordination, and statistical measurements, supported by the D15 project. That is what I am going to present today. For the purpose of this presentation, we're going to talk about an overview of IFF, the scope and resources, challenges, Nigerians' achievement in measuring IFF, and the way forward. IFF represents one of the biggest threats to domestic revenue mobilization in Africa because Nigeria is responsible for over 60% of IFF from Africa. And we can all agree that that is a huge amount of money. They directly undermine our capacity to fund development, deliver public services, and maintain microeconomic stability. As a former chair of the high-level panel of IFF from Africa, that is Thabo Mbeki, Nigeria remains committed to leading regional reforms. The D15 project is critical strengthening measurement capacity, policy response, and coordination across agencies. According to the UNCTAD definition, UNODC definition, the definition is now the global reference which points at statistical measurements. IFFs are financial flows that are illicit in origin, in transfer, or use that crosses borders. They include tax evasion, trade misinvoicing, profit shifting, smuggling, and corruption. This clarity helps all countries report IFF under the SDG 16.4 framework. In Nigeria, we can all agree that IFF is being classified into three broad categories, which is the commercial activities, where you have the tax, you have the criminal activities, which yesterday, was discussed during the presentation, and then you have the corruption. The commercial activities is responsible for 65% of the IFFs from Africa. Criminal, just like Nigeria, just like any other African country. Criminal activities takes 30%, and corruption takes 5%. Africa loses an estimated amount of $88 billion annually to IFFs, and Nigeria is responsible for 65% of that amount, most especially through the commercial activities, which contributes the largest share. This is mainly driven by multinational enterprises. Criminal activities account for 30%, and which covers money laundering, which is also one of the topics I cover, smuggling and illicit trade or illegal trade. Then corruption contributes 5%, but the impact is political and socially significant. Example of IFF sources. We have under the commercial base erosion and profit shifting. We also have the transfer pricing. We have treaty shopping, and then we have the tin capitalization. Under the criminal, we have criminal sources of IFF from Africa. We have the tax evasion, we have the drug trafficking and smuggling, and also movement of illicit proceeds. Under the corruption, you have the bribery, procurement fraud, and movement of illicit enrichment of movement of illicit enrichment to secrecy jurisdictions. And also, understanding these categories guides our measurement tools and policy response. Now, methods of estimating IFFs. Nigeria follows the UN statistical framework and applies several methodologies. We have the trade misinvoicing using partner country and price filter methods, just like earlier presented from the methodologies. We have also the profit shifting using the MNEs, multinationals versus non-multinational profitability gaps and global distribution analysis. We also have the tax evasion through estimation of offshore assets and hidden wealth. These tools were evidence-based estimates needed for policy making. Nigerians' journey. Nigeria has hosted the high-level panel on IFF in 2018, setting the continental agenda. The national risk analysis in 2019 provided the first cross-agency baseline. And in 2022, Nigeria formally commenced its IFF measurement project. In 2025, we conducted capacity building for technical working groups on 6 IFF estimation methodologies. This marks the shift from rhetoric to evidence-driven actions from Nigeria. We're also, in terms of training and coordination, group to include all relevant MDAs, which includes the FIRS, the Customs, the NFIU, the EFCC, the ICPC, the CBN, the Bureau of Statistics, and so on and so forth. And also, the training ensures skills in data analysis, methodology, and interpretation. FIRS serves as the secretariat, coordinating data, meetings, and also reporting. This interagency approach is essential because no single institution can measure IFF alone. In 2025, in May, Nigeria hosted a major regional workshop under the. We successfully applied the MNE profit shifting method using customs data and the CBCR country by country reporting data. Estimation is ongoing, resulting but constrained mainly by micro data access. This is due to the CBR, the attached guidelines to the access to CBCR data. Estimation is ongoing, just like I said. This is Nigeria's most structured IFF measurement exercise to date. When it comes to policy achievement, FIRS, Nigeria has aligned tax policy with global standards to reduce IFFs. Transfer Pricing Regulation 2012, revised in 2018. We also joined OECD Inclusive Framework in 2016, established National Base Erosion and Profit Shifting Committee. We also established and signed the BEPS multilateral instruments. We also, established the Finance Act between 2019 to 2023, introducing major reforms like significant economic presence law. We also, this also touched on the tin cap capitalization rules and the digital taxation. When it comes to transparency and cooperation, Nigeria has also achieved a lot. Nigeria operationalized the automatic exchange of information in 2019. Beneficial ownership transparency improved through the CAC, NATI, and the NUPRC, the reforms. This is to also inform that Nigeria has just carried out a comprehensive tax reform, which has given birth to 4 tax laws. This is in order to ensure that areas or lacunas identified for the flows of IFF is being taken care of. Also, we have enhanced digital compliance, including cryptocurrency trading monitoring. This has been introduced in the new act under the Tax Administration Act of 2025. We also have international cooperation with MLCFT bodies, such as GIABA. I'm presently in Liberia right now, attending one of the GIABA plenaries. We also have we're part of the tax authorities, are part of the Nigerian delegation to FATF, to also ensure that we don't have IFF through such avenues. And also, intelligence units has grown significantly. This strengthen the fight against IFF end to end. Measurable impact. Since 2016, we were happy to say that IFF-related tax policies have supported over 1 trillion naira in recoveries. This has led to some measurable impacts that the reforms can show that we're working and we're achieving a lot, blocking all the lacunas and the loopholes through which IFF move out of the country or is being carried out. Direct revenue reforms improved voluntary compliance and reduced aggressive tax planning. Most importantly, Nigeria's global reputation for transparency improved, essential for foreign direct investment and donor partnership. Challenges. We continue to face major data gaps, customs, banking, corporate microdata, which the current reforms is also taking care of, and we welcome support in whatever form to ensure that these projects see the light of the day. We also have interagency data sharing, which is still weak, partly due to legal constraints, but all those bottlenecks have been taken care of through the technical working group alliance. We also have technology and infrastructure, which is limited, especially for high frequency data analysis. The large informal sector complicates inconsistency in financial flows tracking. We will agree that these challenges are common across developing countries, but solvable through coordinated reforms. Way forward, Nigeria proposes a 3-year national action plan, 2026 to 2028, focusing on comprehensive IFF risk assessment. We also propose integrated interagency data systems through the National Single Window project, being coordinated by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. And also, through the AML-CFT arm, we'll also have achieved that through what we call the Crimes Information Management System. That is domiciled at the FIU. We're also proposing a stronger enforcement and prosecution. All this are, being institutionalized in the new tax laws. We also have institutionalization of the technical working group. A formal domiciliation has happened, and we all know that now that the Federal Land Revenue Service is the central coordination for the fight against IFF in Nigeria, and the secretariat is being headed by me. Leveraging also global partnership on tax, AML-CFT, customs, and digital economy monitoring. Some of the lesson learned in all this is we have understood that. Hello, somebody's mic is on. Okay, we have understood that early engagement with MDAs.
Please, Idris, kindly wrap up, please.
Sorry?
Could you please wrap up, please?
Yes, I'm about to run out.
Thank you.
Early engagement with MDAs ensure ownership and sustainability. Interagency cooperation is the backbone of IFF measurement. A data-driven approach reduces guesswork and improves policy credibility. Aligning with the SDG 16.4 keeps national progress measurable and internationally comparable. In conclusion, Nigeria remains committed to evidence-based strategies to curb IFF. Our partnership with UNCTAD, UNODC, UNECA, and OECD, and African peers remain crucial. With enhanced data systems, political commitments, and technical capacity, we are confident in achieving substantial progress by 2030. Thank you.
Thank you a lot. It was great what you talk about. I don't have word because I agree with many of the problems and the lessons that you gave us here. It is the idea for this workshop, but we are over time, and now we are going to begin, or we are going to continue with Mr. Amayi Sai from the national consultant for Senegal, who will present the country's progress and challenges in measuring tax and commercial illicit financial flows. Please, Amayi, the floor is yours. Is it here, Senegal?
He's connected. I don't know if he has the permissions to unmute himself or present. Paula, could you please make sure?
Let me check.
Vous m'entendez?
Ah, yeah. We can hear you now.
Thank you.
Parfait. Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Amaïssi, donc je suis le consultant national dans le cadre de ce projet pour le Sénégal. Par contre, je ne vois pas la présentation. Est-ce que c'est moi qui dois partager?
Do you want me to present your presentation?
Oui, je veux bien, parce que je n'ai pas la présentation avec moi. Si quelqu'un pourrait partager éventuellement, merci.
We can help you if you need it, Amayi.
Excusez-moi, je n'ai pas entendu.
If you need it, we can present it for you.
Oui, je veux bien, merci.
Okay,
Please,
let me present. 1 second.
Monica, yeah, please.
Parfait, excellent. Donc très rapidement, ce sera une présentation rapide. Je vais vous présenter l'expérience du Sénégal dans la mise en œuvre de ce projet intitulé Mesurer et limiter les flux financiers illicites. Donc c'est le deuxième projet auquel le Sénégal participe après le projet pilote mis en œuvre en 2021 et 2022. Et donc, next. Suivant, s'il vous plaît. Suivant. Slide suivant. Next. Voilà. Donc, comme cela a été présenté précédemment, donc l'objectif du Sénégal dans le cadre de ce projet est triple. Donc, premièrement, maîtriser les définitions et les outils statistiques pour le renseignement de l'indicateur ODD 16.4.e. Ensuite, s'approprier des méthodologies et des approches de mesure des flux financiers illicites, notamment ceux relatifs au commerce et à la fiscalité. Et troisièmement, sur la base des estimations qui seront produites, donc fournir de l'aide à la décision en termes de réponses politiques et réglementaires. Next. Et donc, au Sénégal, nous avons mis en place, donc pour la coordination de ce projet, un groupe de travail technique qui a été le plus inclusif possible, avec divers acteurs. Nous avons des acteurs qui sont directement intéressés par la problématique. Nous avons les agences de lutte contre la corruption. Nous avons les agences qui s'occupent des marchés publics. Nous avons l'agence qui un peu assure le secrétariat de l'initiative pour la transparence dans les industries extractives. Donc, ces trois agences-là sont rattachées à la présidence de la République. Nous avons également des structures qui sont rattachées au ministère des Finances. Nous avons la CENTIF. La CENTIF, c'est un peu la cellule de renseignement financier. Nous avons l'administration fiscale, la DGID. Nous avons l'administration des douanes, la DZD. Nous avons également l'administration qui s'occupe de tout ce qui s'agit monnaie et crédit. Donc, toutes ces structures sont au ministère des Finances. Donc, ça, ce sont les structures, disons, les structures qui sont donc, c'est la première ligne de défense en termes de lutte contre les flux financiers illicites, ces structures-là. Nous avons également des structures qui sont dans les autres ministères. Nous avons le ministère de la Justice, nous avons le ministère de l'Intérieur, nous avons des ministères de l'Énergie, des Mines, de la Pêche et de l'Environnement, qui sont également membres du groupe de travail technique. Nous avons également d'autres acteurs. Nous avons des acteurs de la société civile. Nous avons bien sûr la Banque centrale. Donc voilà en quelque sorte les structures qui composent le groupe de travail technique. Ce groupe de travail technique est coordonné par l'Agence nationale de la statistique et de la démographie, qui est un peu la structure coordonnatrice et le point focal de ce projet ici au Sénégal. Donc suivant, donc en termes d'activité, next. Voilà, donc en termes d'activité, nous avons eu à mettre en œuvre ce projet sur la base de 4 activités principales, de 4 macro-activités. Donc nous avons fait une évaluation des risques, une mise à jour, disons, en quelque sorte, de l'évaluation des risques qui a été faite en 2021 dans le cadre du premier projet. Donc cette évaluation des risques a été finalisée en septembre 2024. Donc, dans cette évaluation des risques, nous avons mis en évidence les facteurs de risque, nous avons mis en évidence les vulnérabilités et le plus important, nous avons fait une revue de la disponibilité et de la qualité des données. Également, dans ce rapport, nous avons identifié les méthodes qui pouvaient être mises en œuvre sur la base des données disponibles et de leur qualité. Donc, toujours dans le même rapport, nous avons également fait une revue rapide, un peu de la législation et un peu des structures qui existent pour un peu anticiper sur la seconde composante, à savoir la composante politique. Donc, ce rapport nous a permis un peu d'identifier les méthodes qui pouvaient être mises en œuvre, de choisir les flux financiers illicites qui pouvaient faire l'objet de mesures. Donc, ce rapport, donc à l'issue de ce rapport, nous avons identifié essentiellement deux types de flux financiers illicites qui pouvaient faire l'objet de mesures dans le cadre du Sénégal, la fausse facturation commerciale et l'évitement fiscal. Nous avons également, pour chaque type de flux financier illicite, identifié 2 méthodologies qu'on pouvait mettre en œuvre toujours sur la base des données disponibles. Donc ensuite, deuxième grande activité, en février 2025, nous avons tenu sur 3 jours une séance de renforcement de capacité avec des experts de la CNUSED, de l'UNODC et de la CIA qui sont venus un peu nous capaciter sur les méthodologies qui pouvaient être mises en œuvre au Sénégal. Ensuite, il y a eu la phase d'implémentation et de collecte des données, donc qui se sont déroulées à travers 2 séries d'ateliers. Donc, il y a eu un premier atelier qui a été tenu sur une semaine en août, donc où nous avons collecté les données et nous avons également commencé à mettre en œuvre. Donc, sur la base d'un plan d'implémentation qui avait été déjà établi à la base. Donc, à la suite de cet atelier, nous avons tenu un second atelier de finalisation des estimations tenu en octobre. Donc, à la suite de ces 2 ateliers, nous avons pu avoir des estimations sur les 2 types de flux financiers illicites qui avaient été initialement retenus. Donc, sur les 4 méthodes initialement retenues, nous avons pu en implémenter 3. Donc, la 4e n'a pas pu être implémentée pour des raisons dont on reviendra prochainement. Donc, en termes de résultats, donc next. Voilà, donc en termes de résultats, donc s'agissant du premier type de flux financier illicite retenu, à savoir la fausse facturation commerciale, les deux méthodes recommandées ont été mises en œuvre, à savoir la méthode des pays partenaires et la méthode de filtre de prix. Donc ces deux méthodes ont été mises en œuvre avec une innovation ici par rapport à la première expérience pilote en 2021. En 2021 et 2022, s'agissant de la méthode filtre de prix, nous l'avions mise en œuvre uniquement sur un produit. Sur un produit. Cette fois-ci, cette méthode a été mise en œuvre sur l'ensemble des produits, sans exclusion. Next. Concernant le second type de flux financier illicite, à savoir l'évitement fiscal, nous avions envisagé dans le plan d'implémentation de mettre en œuvre les deux méthodes. Donc la méthode de semi-élasticité a été implémentée avec ici une contrainte, c'est que nous n'avons pas accès à la base de l'OCDE. Donc nous avons retenu une approche qui nous permettait de ne pas avoir recours à cette base à travers la méthodologie qui a été implémentée pour le cas de l'Afrique du Sud, un papier de Reynolds et Weir. Donc nous avons utilisé cette même approche pour le cas du Sénégal, qui nous permettait un peu d'avoir une idée sur les bénéfices transférés sans avoir recours à la base de comparable de l'OCDE. Concernant la seconde méthodologie, c'est la méthode des comparables. Donc ici, lorsqu'on a commencé à mettre en œuvre cette méthodologie, nous avons trouvé que les entreprises multinationales n'étaient pas du tout comparables aux entreprises locales. Donc nous n'avions pas pu avoir des entreprises comparables, spécialement dans certains secteurs où quasiment toutes les entreprises étaient quasiment des multinationales. Donc, lorsque nous avons calculé les distances pour un peu trouver les entreprises comparables, nous avons trouvé des distances qui étaient relativement élevées par rapport aux seuils qui sont recommandés. Donc, ce qui fait que nous avons dû abandonner cette méthode parce que les entreprises multinationales n'étaient pas du tout comparables aux entreprises locales. Next, maintenant en termes de résultats. Next. Donc en termes de résultats, sur la partie fausse facturation commerciale, nous avons pu estimer les flux entrants et les flux sortants. Donc cela donne pour la méthode des pays partenaires un total sur la période 2020-2024 de 2793 milliards de francs CFA en termes de flux entrants et un chiffre beaucoup plus important s'agissant des flux sortants. Donc ici, c'est le cumul sur la partie 2020-2024. Bien sûr, nous avons les chiffres pour chaque année. Et dans le reporting, bien sûr, ce seront les chiffres pour chaque année qui seront donnés. Next. Voilà. Donc, concernant les analyses un peu plus détaillées, donc, par année, donc, nous avons constaté que l'évolution était un peu haussière. Nous sommes passés de 825 milliards en termes de flux entrants en 2020 à 1577 milliards en 2024, avec une concentration géographique axée sur l'Europe, qui concentre 53% de ces flux, et l'Asie, 33%. Donc, ces deux continents, ce sont les principaux partenaires du Sénégal. Concernant maintenant les flux sortants, donc ici, c'est quasiment le triple. hein, donc avec un volume total de 7800 milliards sur la période, un pic en 2024 de 1880 milliards de flux sortants. Ici également, nous avons les produits les plus touchés qui sont les hydrocarbures, les machines et équipements et également les véhicules. Next. Voilà. Maintenant, lorsque nous avons fait la comparaison des estimations issues de la méthode 1 vis-à-vis de la méthode 2, nous avons effectivement trouvé que la méthode la méthode des pays partenaires donnait des chiffres beaucoup plus élevés que la méthode du filtre de prix. Donc, ce qui est cohérent avec ce qu'on retrouve dans la littérature, hein, parce que sans doute que la méthode des pays partenaires a tendance à surestimer les vrais flux et que la seconde méthode a tendance à les sous-estimer. Donc la réalité est quelque chose qui est entre les deux. Next. Maintenant, concernant l'évitement fiscal, nous avons trouvé un chiffre donc cumulé de 733 milliards de francs CFA donc sur les 4 années. Donc ici, nous n'avons pas pu faire l'exercice en 2024 pour un problème de données. Donc l'exercice a été fait entre 2020 et 2023. Donc ce total de 733 milliards représente en moyenne 20% des profits déclarés par ces entreprises. Avec ici une forte concentration sectorielle sur 3 entreprises. Les 75% de ce montant-là sont concentrés sur 3 secteurs, qui sont le secteur des télécommunications. Next.
Just a gentle reminder to conclude, please.
Voilà, donc ces 75% sont concentrés dans 3 secteurs: les télécommunications, le secteur des transports et de l'entreposage et le secteur financier, banque et assurance. Next. Voilà, next. Donc, j'ai déjà parlé de la concentration. Next, please. Next. Voilà, donc en termes de leçons apprises et de défis, hein, donc nous avons les limitations des méthodes qui ont été déjà évoquées. Next. Voilà, nous avons également toujours, après la mise en œuvre des méthodologies, nous avons produit un plan d'action parce qu'au cours de la mise en œuvre, nous avons recensé un ensemble de défaillances et d'insuffisances au niveau de la qualité de données. Nous avons recensé tous ces constats dans un plan d'action avec les constats et les recommandations pour un peu lever ces insuffisances. Donc voilà en résumé l'expérience du Sénégal dans le cadre de ce projet et nous vous remercions pour votre aimable attention. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Amayi. And we now are going to proceed with Mr. François Ramdi. François Anti. Okay, François Anti, focal point for Burkina Faso with his presentation. Please. Thank you.
Bien, merci. Bonjour, vous m'entendez?
Bonjour.
Bien,
Oui, on vous
merci.
entend.
Alors, donc je m'en vais vous présenter donc l'expérience de Burkina Faso en matière de mesure des flux financiers illicites. Voilà, la présentation, c'est autour de 5 points. Voilà. Une introduction, suivie de la présentation des cas, les progrès accomplis, les principaux défis et les leçons apprises. Voilà, en guise d'introduction, il faut dire que le Burkina Faso a été retenu parmi les pays pilotes du projet de mesures statistiques des flux financiers illicites en Afrique. Et le projet a démarré officiellement le 30 août 2021. Voilà, avec la mise en place d'un groupe de travail technique qui regroupe l'administration publique, le secteur privé et puis la société civile. Voilà, à l'image du Sénégal,
Oui, alors, madame, ça
voilà,
va?
c'est la même organisation type qui a été mise
Ça
en
va
place
bien.
et qui a permis donc de suivre et de réaliser les activités. Alors, il faut dire que nous avons bénéficié de l'appui technique et financier de la CEA et de la CNICET. Voilà, au passage, on les remercie beaucoup pour leur accompagnement. Les activités réalisées, il y a eu des formations sur les différentes méthodes de mesure.
Francois,
Ensuite,
please,
nous avons
I'm
procédé
sorry, but
aux estimations des flux financiers illicites par la méthode des pays partenaires en 2022.
There is no
Nous
interpretation.
avons eu une formation spécifique
yeah,
sur
there's
la
no
méthode de
interpretation.
filtrage des prix en
François,
janvier 2025.
François,
Et
sorry, but
récemment, nous avons procédé à des estimations des flux financiers illicites par la méthode de filtrage des prix.
okay.
Il faut dire que nous sommes encore là-dessus sur l'analyse des résultats. Alors,
Yeah, no,
en termes
yes,
d'études
but
de
we had a little problem with the interpretation part, and we couldn't listen a lot of your first slides.
ouais. C'est possible ou bien il y a un souci?
Now we have the interpretation part, but sí, ya se escucha bastante bien. Please, if you want to go ahead, François, but if you want to
Can I go ahead? Je peux continuer?
yes, please. Yes, please.
Oh, OK. En termes d'études de cas, il faut dire que, comme je le disais en introduction, nous avons d'abord mis en œuvre la méthode des pays partenaires où nous avons calculé les risques de flux financiers illicites pour tous les produits au niveau SH4 et nous avons retenu 6 produits pour l'analyse avec 3 critères de sélection des produits. C'est l'importance relative du produit pour le commerce international au niveau du pays, et les produits avec les plus grands écarts commerciaux et les produits en lien avec la fraude douanière. Il faut dire que la douane dispose d'une base de données qui répertorie un peu les produits qui sont source de fraude douanière. Donc, en exportation, nous avons donc approfondi les analyses sur l'or, le sésame et le zinc. Et en importation, les analyses ont été approfondies sur les poissons, les huiles minérales, c'est-à-dire les carburants, et les véhicules automobiles. Voilà. En termes de résultats, à l'exportation, nous avons constaté des écarts pour l'or, mais avant de conclure qu'il s'agit de risques de flux financiers illicites, nous avons considéré les pays qui ont le même système d'enregistrement du commerce que le Burkina Faso, c'est-à-dire le système général. Voilà. Et sur la période 2011-2020, nous avons estimé les risques de flux financiers illicites à 1,3 milliard de dollars. Voilà. Concernant le sésame, en première intention, il faut dire que nous avons suggéré nous avons supposé que c'est un secteur qui est très réglementé et donc il serait difficile d'avoir des flux financiers illicites. Mais comme on le verra plus tard, apparemment nous nous sommes trompés. Voilà. Donc, parce que la méthode de filtrage des prix a fait ressortir également ce produit-là comme étant un produit source de flux financiers illicites. Voilà. Alors, concernant le zinc est produit au Burkina et il transite par un pays côtier avant d'être exporté. Voilà. Mais dans nos investigations, ce pays côtier n'a pas enregistré le zinc en provenance du Burkina comme étant, voilà, comme venant comme importation. Voilà. Donc, nous avons regardé aussi les écarts qui ne sont pas très importants entre les écarts positifs et les écarts négatifs. Bon, nous nous sommes dit que le zinc n'est pas a priori source de flux financiers illicites. Voilà. À l'importation, lorsqu'on se réfère à la base de données de la douane, il y a des saisies importantes de boissons frelatées et des importations frauduleuses. Voilà. Donc, les écarts constatés avec les exportations des pays qui enregistrent le commerce, selon le système général comme le Burkina Faso, ont été assimilés à des risques de flux financiers illicites. Donc, au total, sur la période, les risques de flux financiers illicites sont estimés à 185 milliards de dollars US entre la période de 2011 et 2020. Concernant les carburants, voilà, il faut dire les hydrocarbures, la crise sécuritaire vécue par le pays a été propice à des importations frauduleuses dont une quantité importante était destinée aux groupes terroristes. Voilà, il faut dire que au plus fort de la crise, il y a eu des postes douaniers qui ont été déguerpis et ces zones-là étaient devenues des no man's land. Donc, les écarts à l'importation avec les pays qui utilisent le système général ont été assimilés donc à des flux financiers illicites. Et sur la période, nous avons comptabilisé 5,4 milliards de dollars de risques de flux financiers illicites en ce qui concerne le carburant. Voilà. Pour les véhicules automobiles, alors il faut dire qu'ici, les importations, voilà, il y a eu des soucis d'enregistrement. Donc, nous n'avons pas considéré ce produit-là comme étant des flux financiers illicites. Parce qu'on a remarqué que lorsque le produit il est de marque japonaise fabriquée au Canada ou aux USA, la déclaration portait que ça venait du Japon. Donc, du coup, il y a des problèmes d'enregistrement. Donc, pour les véhicules, nous n'avons pas comptabilisé ceci dans les flux financiers illicites. Alors, en ce qui concerne la méthode de filtrage des prix, l'étude de cas sur la méthode de filtrage des prix, nous avons retenu ici également tous les critères de sélection des produits, voilà, à un niveau suffisamment détaillé pour appliquer la méthode. C'est l'importance relative pour le commerce, les produits avec les écarts les plus grands, mais également l'homogénéité des produits. Voilà, c'est pourquoi nous sommes allés jusqu'à SH10 pour avoir suffisamment de détails pour appliquer la méthode de filtrage des prix. Voilà, on constate qu'avec la méthode de filtrage des prix, il y a des produits qui sont revenus. Voilà, en exportation, il y a l'or, il y a le sésame, et cette fois-ci, le cajou. Voilà, le noix de cajou. Au niveau des importations, c'est les hydrocarbures qui sont revenus, mais c'est le tabac et succédanés de tabac et les produits pharmaceutiques qui se sont révélés être vraiment les principaux produits sources de flux financiers illicites. Mais il y a également les cartes intelligentes, voilà, qui sont apparues comme étant des produits qui sont sources de flux financiers illicites. Voilà. Alors, au regard des détails qui ont été utilisés pour mener l'étude, voilà, nous n'avons pas, j'ai choisi personnellement, et puis bon, comme l'analyse est toujours en cours, de ne pas rentrer dans les détails pour les résultats de la méthode de filtrage des prix. Mais nous avons procédé à une comparaison avec la méthode des pays partenaires. Voilà. Donc, avec la méthode des pays partenaires, voilà, on se rend compte qu'à l'exportation d'or, la méthode de filtrage des prix donne des montants qui sont vraiment très inférieurs à la méthode des pays partenaires. Voilà. En exportation sous-facturée qu'en importation surfacturée. Voilà. Ensuite, au niveau des importations, comme je le disais tantôt, il y a les combustibles et les boissons que nous avons regardé également. Voilà, la méthode de filtrage des prix pour les combustibles montre également que les montants sont plus élevés avec la méthode des pays partenaires que la méthode de filtrage des prix. Alors, par contre, voilà, au niveau des, des boissons, lorsqu'on regarde le total, les montants sont assez comparables. Voilà, les progrès accomplis dans le cas du Burkina Faso, il faut dire que depuis 2021, nous avons un groupe de travail qui est quasi stable. Voilà, sur la trentaine de membres du groupe de travail, il y a, je crois qu'il y a trois personnes qui ont été affectées à d'autres postes et qui ont été remplacées. Sinon, la majeure partie des membres du groupe de travail sont toujours là. Voilà, nous avons la mise en œuvre de la méthode d'estimation par les pays partenaires, voilà, où tout le monde s'est familiarisé. Voilà. Il faut dire également qu'après cette étude pilote, il y a eu la réalisation d'une étude spécifique sur l'estimation des flux financiers illicites dans le secteur extractif. C'est l'instruction du gouvernement. Et l'initiative a été confiée à l'initiative pour la transparence des industries extractives. Voilà, nous avons également pu renforcer les capacités des membres du groupe avec la mise en œuvre de la méthode d'estimation effectuée par la méthode de filtrage des prix. Voilà. Alors, les principaux défis actuellement, c'est poursuivre l'analyse en profondeur, partager les résultats avec les parties prenantes, la restitution provisoire et définitive des résultats, la diffusion des statistiques expérimentales des flux financiers illicites, l'exploration d'autres méthodes d'estimation, parce que nous n'avons mis en œuvre que la méthode des pays partenaires et la méthode de filtrage des prix. Il y a le portage politique du projet et l'institutionnalisation du groupe de travail. Voilà. Il faut dire que jusqu'à présent, c'est l'Institut national de la statistique qui mène le lead avec des structures étatiques et privées. Voilà. Mais le portage politique n'est pas encore ça. Alors, il y a la pérennité du groupe de travail. Actuellement, nous bénéficions de l'appui de la CEA et de la CNUSET. Voilà. Donc, il faut que, au niveau national, que le groupe de travail soit institutionnalisé afin que même après ce projet pilote-là, on puisse continuer à produire des estimations sur les flux financiers illicites. Donc voilà donc un ensemble de défis auxquels le groupe fait face, malgré sa stabilité dans le temps. Alors les leçons apprises, donc il y a le renforcement des capacités sur les concepts et mesures par les parties prenantes, l'expérimentation des méthodes. Voilà. On a vu également la complémentarité des méthodes mises en œuvre, voilà, où nous avions en première intention avec la méthode des pays partenaires dit par exemple que le sésame, comme c'est un secteur suffisamment réglementé, on ne peut pas soupçonner qu'il y ait des flux financiers illicites, mais la méthode de filtrage des prix a montré le contraire. Voilà. Il faut dire également qu'avec ce projet, il y a eu une compréhension des enjeux liés à la mesure et à la lutte contre les flux financiers illicites, parce que c'est un phénomène qui prive l'État de ressources importantes pour mener des actions de développement, notamment la construction d'écoles, des centres de santé, l'investissement des investissements productifs, ainsi de suite. Voilà. Donc, voici de façon ramassée, voilà ce que je pouvais dire par rapport à l'expérience de Burkina Faso dans ce projet pilote de mesures des flux financiers, mesures statistiques des flux financiers illicites. Voilà, merci beaucoup pour votre attention.
No, thank you, Francois, a lot. We will pass now to present, to give the floor to Francisco Guillén, who is actually Deputy Director of National, let me check. Well, Deputy Director of General of National Accounts at INEGI. Y voy a cambiar a español. Quien va a presentar la experiencia de México, por favor, Paco, te pido 10 minutos, por favor, para poder terminar, y para poderle dar espacio todavía a ESCAP. Muchísimas gracias, Paco.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity to present the exploratory exercise for measuring illicit financial flows, and thank you to the ECLAC and all the participants to listen this experience. So next slide, please, and I will change my English from my English to the worst Spanish that I have. Well, en el contexto general, México signó pues un acuerdo con la CEPAL y la idea era probar precisamente la metodología propuesta por la UNCTAD mediante pues, un estudio piloto, que además lo consideramos exploratorio y experimental, sobre los flujos ilícitos provenientes de la facturación fraudulenta del comercio internacional de mercancías. También, bueno, pues es importante señalar que el financiamiento de la CEPAL se lleva a cabo a través de la verificación y aplicabilidad de las metodologías que hemos estado realizando mediante pues, un conjunto de indagaciones sobre la minería de datos o los microdatos de las fuentes de información. Y por otro lado, bueno, pues también estamos midiendo estos elementos tomando en consideración el Intercountry Input-Output Tables que elabora la OCDE para hacer una matriz regional con nuestros principales socios. Esto nos permitió observar las principales asimetrías que pudiéramos tener con Estados Unidos y Canadá. Tomando en consideración esto, hay que visualizar que el problema no es precisamente ubicar a través de estas asimetrías el total de los flujos financieros ilícitos. Nos da precisamente el techo máximo en el que podríamos estar pensando que hubiera los flujos financieros ilícitos. Con esto en mente, la que sigue por next, please. Con esto en mente, bueno, pues algunos de los elementos que estamos considerando es particularmente, ya no voy a tocar esta lámina porque se ha señalado por colegas anteriores, pues nosotros estamos hablando de o estamos experimentando sobre la facturación fraudulenta. La que sigue, por favor. Y en este contexto, bueno, pues es importante también señalar que pues tuvimos que observar un sinnúmero de fuentes y métodos utilizados para probar principalmente dos metodologías que ya estaré señalando más adelante en la facturación fraudulenta del comercio internacional de mercancías. Y en este contexto, pues tengo que señalar dos grandes rubros. Uno, se revisaron fuentes internas y externas de la información a partir de un modelo de metadatos. Y bueno, en el caso de las fuentes internas, pues estamos observando particularmente la balanza comercial de mercancías de México, donde aquí simplemente voy a resaltar que pues hemos tenido la oportunidad de realizar una revisión exhaustiva sobre los códigos arancelarios del sistema armonizado a 6 y 10 dígitos, que esto implica hablar de su partida y número de identificación comercial, NICO, y lo vimos tanto en valores, en dólares, en cantidades, por país de origen y de destino. Y esto que estoy señalando, pues obviamente cuando tenemos un trabajo relacionado con una matriz regional con nuestros países socios, pues ya nos estaba dando una idea de que teníamos que bajar el nivel para poder encontrar estos flujos financieros ilícitos. En el contexto de las fuentes externas, bueno, pues aquí igual aprovechamos la base de datos CompTrade de las Naciones Unidas, UNCTAD, y pues también habíamos visto que podíamos tener elementos para poder hacer una visualización muy clara a nivel de los 6 dígitos del sistema armonizado. También en valoración en dólares, las cantidades físicas, el flujo comercial, lo estábamos observando a través de esta base de datos y el socio comercial. De tal manera que pudimos de esto poder utilizar o probar dos de los principales métodos. Uno, el país socio plus y el filtro de precios plus. La que sigue, por favor. Y bueno, pues dentro de este esquema, pues estamos hablando de que vemos un procedimiento que pudimos estar estableciendo para el método 1, país socio plus. Y ustedes observarán que en la parte superior estamos hablando de un conjunto de fases que llevamos a cabo. La captación con un color que en los recuadros podemos verlos también asociados, la captación de los datos, el procesamiento y el análisis, que tiene un color azul mucho más claro. Los puntos 1 y 2 corresponden a la captación, los puntos 3, 4, 5, 6 y 7 es el procesamiento que nosotros tenemos, y el punto 8 con un color más claro estaba relacionado al análisis. Digamos, fue el procedimiento general que hicimos, y que aquí lo que tenemos que señalar es que en el ámbito de la captación de la información tuvimos que observar y realizar una correlación entre las tablas de industria del Intercountry Input-Output Tables y el sistema armonizado a nivel de 6 dígitos. Y de esta manera pudimos homologar las subpartidas en diversas versiones del sistema armonizado. Se realizaron pruebas de consistencia y suficiencia en la base de la balanza comercial de mercancías de México. Y con ello, pues se realiza una ficha metodológica por industria. Se ordenó algo que es muy importante, fue el ordenamiento de la balanza comercial de México por preponderancia de socios comerciales, que como ya observábamos, pues eran en nuestro caso Estados Unidos y Canadá, que en general representan alrededor del 85-90% de nuestras relaciones comerciales con estos dos países. Y después se hizo la captación y recopilación de información de los datos del COMTRADE de Naciones Unidas para hacer una revisión y validación de las variables seleccionadas. En el ámbito del procesamiento, se tuvieron que realizar depuraciones, la integración y transformación de bases, se homologaron los valores de libre a bordo o a través de coeficientes específicos, se aplicaron procedimientos de ponderación de fiabilidad a los registros de importaciones y se hizo el cálculo de los flujos financieros, tanto entrantes como salientes, así como su correspondiente compendio por socio comercial y subpartida. Por otro lado, la que sigue, por favor, ya en el ámbito del análisis, se homologó el sistema armonizado con el sistema de clasificación industrial de América del Norte y se hicieron las agrupaciones de resultados por actividad económica. Todo esto se contrastó con las variables macroeconómicas del sistema de cuentas nacionales y respecto al filtro de precios plus se realizó un procedimiento muy similar en donde se prepararon las bases de la balanza comercial ya de México, se validaron las cantidades de cada registro a nivel de informante y a través de interacciones se lograron ver todos los elementos que tendríamos que clarificar en términos de las cantidades mismas. Se hizo esa validación. Después, pues dentro del proceso estuvimos hablando de una serie de, o la aplicación de filtros de precios a través de percentiles y después de ello, pues manejamos los montos infra o sobrevalorados por Nico a nivel de cada informante, de tal manera de que pudimos observar a través de ello otro conjunto de elementos de los flujos financieros ilícitos entrantes y salientes para generar precisamente pues un contraste y validación de los resultados con las estadísticas macroeconómicas que estábamos manejando. Algo que me parece que es importante destacar aquí es que pues la aplicación en el procesamiento y análisis de la información era esto de incorporar los intervalos estadísticos que ya se mencionaron al principio, sugeridos por la metodología, se calcularon, por supuesto, los flujos financieros ilícitos entrantes y salientes, de acuerdo con la metodología, y finalmente, bueno, pues se tuvieron que hacer análisis de los montos de estos flujos financieros, tanto en los agregados de importaciones y exportaciones, vinculándolos al sistema de cuentas nacionales. Y para ello, pues tuvimos que hacer la conversión hacia el sistema de clasificación internacional de América del Norte, que es el que nos permite vincular, en el caso de México, Estados Unidos y Canadá, pues las actividades económicas a tratar. Se hace el contraste finalmente de estos flujos financieros con estos para ambos procedimientos. La que sigue, por favor. Y pues algunos de los elementos o hallazgos y limitaciones encontrados, pues primero que nada hay que señalar que los resultados preliminares sobre la brecha, pues nos dan una visión de que las cantidades de los bienes importados y exportados, pues no está validada y se tienen que observar dadas las diferentes unidades de medidas, pues precisamente para encontrar ponderadores que nos sirvieran a la hora de aplicar los rangos de los precios, llamémosle normales, y ver las diferencias para encontrar los flujos financieros ilícitos. Eso por un lado. Por otro lado, vemos que con la información disponible, pues no es posible identificar algunas asimetrías importantes, por lo que existen limitaciones prácticas para eliminar irregularidades derivadas del comercio intrafirma o precios de transferencia, que este es otro elemento muy importante que se debe tomar en consideración para evitar que pueda haber una confusión entre los flujos financieros ilícitos y los valores de precio de mercado que se pueden estar considerando en el ámbito de los precios de transferencia. Obviamente están aquí las mercancías que transitan por terceros países, como son las exportaciones o importaciones, reimportaciones, que pues dan a veces una clasificación errónea o periodo de registro. La que sigue, por favor.
Please, Francisco, if you can try to conclude, please.
Yes, ok. De tal manera que estos avances y limitaciones los podemos estar observando, particularmente en términos de lo que se ha venido asociando en estos dos métodos. Tenemos, en un caso, en el PCM Plus, pues una medición que se realizó entre el 2018 y 2023, que permitió observar los patrones de lo que pudiéramos observar como flujos financieros ilícitos, y al compararlo con el PFM Plus, pues lo que estamos viendo es que tenemos grandes brechas en particular. La que sigue, por favor. Ok. Y bueno, pues ya hablando de los hallazgos y limitaciones, en el caso específico de los dos métodos, pues el país socio da la disponibilidad a 6 dígitos, ¿no? Que puede contener distintas unidades de medida, pues provoca la variabilidad que yo ya señalaba. En el de filtro de precios, pues también con información desagregada es fundamental contar con cantidades validadas. Y bueno, nuestros siguientes pasos son la realización, pues, de ejercicios que se aplican en una industria, particularmente la de informática, electrónicos y ópticos. Estamos ya documentando y enfatizando los alcances de la metodología actual, y estaremos entregando el informe final en el mes de diciembre de este proyecto experimental. Muchas gracias por su atención.
Thanks a lot, Francisco, for your presentation. And now, last but not least, is I want to give the floor to ESCAP with Alik. Alik is going to present a consolidated overview of the experiences of Bangladesh, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. Please, Alik, floor is yours. Thank you. And
Thank you.
please, I'm sorry. I know that we have some questions, but we have to please give the floor first to Alik, and then we can try to answer all of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alfonso. I hope you can see the presentation mode.
No, I see this meeting, not the presentation.
Yes, so can I proceed?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to present the experiences from the 3 countries that we are working with here in Asia and Pacific, Bangladesh.
I cannot hear Alec.
Will you try to change your screen, because we are seeing this meeting? Yes.
Okay. Where
you have to choose the other the other screen. If you have two. Thank you, Monica.
Is this
fine?
Now we can see it. Thank you, Alec.
Thank you so much. Always a technical hitch, but thanks for giving us an opportunity to share with what is happening within countries. And apologies that the countries couldn't join. I think for Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan, it's always the language issue, and then Bangladesh have had some timing issues. But in earnest, we've had respective meetings, and we sought their input, and this reflects their position. So it's in general very consolidated. So I'll restrict myself to the overall progress that has been undertaken within the context of this project. We're undertaking risk assessments, and also decided on the methods that could be used, and the focus is on trade-related IFFs, and data collection has also been undertaken and currently being analyzed. Some issues, for example, Bangladesh was still not in ComTrade, so we've had to work with the partner country data where applicable. And we also undertook specific capacity building workshops for both policy and measurement. And actually currently finished today in Kazakhstan for both Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan. And the engagement is actually done on a monthly basis with the respective countries to discuss and resolve any technical issues. Sometimes it's maybe error coding in the data analysis aspects. So we do it monthly, and then it's on a case-by-case basis. The countries always initiates if at all there's something pressing and unique. So this is what I'll say overall for all the 3 countries. And regarding the deliverable on the output relating to policy aspects, the roadmaps, we undertaken surveys of all policy-related institutions which are all in the task force. So prosecutors' office and also financial intelligence agencies, Ministry of Economy, central banks. And for the policy roadmaps, it's still work in progress, but for Bangladesh, we have a preliminary draft, which we are waiting for further input. And one general observation, and I think this applies to all the countries here, that this is still a very sensitive issue. The question that still comes up is what is the right method, which we always say, well, there's no best method, but we still offer the guidance. So this is just for information.
Sorry, Alec, but we can see the other slides. If you want, we can present it for you, because
sure,
we still see the first one. Yeah, now, yeah, it changed now, but because we start only with the frequent. But okay, go ahead.
Okay, but I don't know how I need to change. Okay.
Could you put it in presentation mode, please?
Do you see the presentation mode in this case?
Well, go ahead. Don't worry.
No, you can share from your side, maybe.
Could you help us, please, Monica?
Okay, but maybe in the interest of time, I will just proceed.
Thank you.
Yeah, so regarding country-specific issues, I'll start with Bangladesh. We started the project a little bit late, as you might all be aware that there were a lot of political uncertainties following the demonstrations and the subsequent change of political leadership at the highest level of the country. So this really affected the timeline. And as a result of this, it is also, we observe that collecting data and mining further, it's very sensitive, and I think maybe because of the political sensitivities, so everybody really pays attention to the details. I think based on the experience of the DA 12. And there's also been data which has been really scattered all over, and this is also really been affecting the process of really verification of prices and for trade purposes. And given the sensitivities of the issues happening around, we did observe that it was also very difficult to put institutions all together, that maybe people were not really willing to talk. But and of course, limited statistical expertise. Since this was the first initiative to measure IFFs at this level, at least from the commercial side of things. And but one good thing in terms of what we've seen get better is that from the last workshop that we did in May, where we had both policy as well as measurement back to back, there was a much better understanding of the concept, which has kind of enhanced interagency coordination. And during this workshop, we had people at, especially the policy one, at higher levels of decision making in most of the agencies. And there's really some sort of brought a common understanding amongst the different agencies. And we've also noticed that due to the better understanding, they've really identified staff that are really competent to use ICT methods, which is actually increased the ability to do more analysis and detect some suspicious transactions. And we see that in terms of when they initiate questions in our periodic monthly updates. Going to Kyrgyzstan, Kyrgyzstan, one big challenge is that of all the free project countries, it is the smallest country in terms of the size of the statistical office, which is the lead agency and focal point. So capacity is always limited, not in terms of really technical competency, but time allocated to this work. And other than the sensitivity of the issues, we've tried to mitigate it by engaging a consultant who has worked in law enforcement and also understands most of the statistical issues. So that has been a mitigating factor. And a lot of questions are coming on, but I think overall there's a much better understanding, particularly coming from the Financial Intelligence Agency, which is really been asking us lots of questions and also offering some ideas. And in our engagement, we could also notice that now they are understanding most of the data and asking the right questions, and we've been assisting them to resolve some of the data gaps. So Kyrgyzstan, the tricky part, it is often a transit country for most of illicit activities. And then it is also complicated by being a member of a preferential trade area within Central Asia, which is often used for, as a base to import and export items. But with partner data, we've tried to resolve some of these issues. Going to Uzbekistan. The issues for the key challenges there, we work with the prosecutors. The Law Enforcement Academy. It's changed names a couple of times within the last 2 years. And there have been a lot of changes in terms of staff, but overall it is a country that is really active, particularly because of the law enforcement nature of the academy and also being a think tank. So that the big challenge that there have been changes of a lot of staff, but nonetheless we've maintained a direct line to assist with data validation and resolve any discrepancies. And just like Kyrgyzstan, this week is the week we've been really speaking to them on the policy side of things, and I think people are opening up and suggesting some ideas. So going forward, we intend to produce the first preliminary policy roadmaps by the end of next month, and the same for the preliminary estimates of data, which they are still validating. What we've done in all the 3 countries is that we have ensured that the countries themselves read the estimation and only seek our support to resolve any of the issues. So in the trainings that we've been having, we've been working with our partner country data or ComTrade data, as well as the TINA tool that we developed, just to give them a hands-on experience to resolve some of the issues. So the involvement of customs across all the 3 countries has been active, and has really helped to resolve some of the other issues. Yeah, so this is what I can say from our side. Thank you.
Thank you, Alec. And thanks all. I know that we were very, very ambitious with this agenda, and we overpassed a little with the time. And now let me give the floor to Diana, who is going to proceed with the questions answer session. But in this sense, well, if you want to take the floor, Diana, and Beatriz is going to help you with what she caught from the chat. If you want her to read it, or if you want to read it, I don't know.
I can also see that there is one question that is a bit long about the sum of all current account balances and non-financial accounts of the countries in the world, if this should be resolved to zero, and what is the actual level of imbalance of this global measurement between current accounts and financial accounts, which one show a greater discrepancy when summed globally, what is the result of adding up all those errors and omissions reported by every country, and finally, considering that this discrepancy may arise from both statistical measurement issue and recorded legal economic flows, how we should interpret these results. So maybe just to clarify that I'm not sure if this question is specifically to one method or the others. If this is referred to discrepancies for methods to measure trade misinvoicing, we actually refer to data on international merchandise trade statistics. So the imbalance is measured with that level. But my colleague Boyan prepared an answer on all these questions as well, which I'm not sure how they specifically relate to which specific method, but I can read it out loud. So on the first question, theoretically, yes, the balance should be zero, but for various reasons, this is seldom the case. For example, when this comes from inconsistencies in the way individual countries compile their data and how they report errors and omissions. We don't have all the data. For current accounts, we have some data in UNCTAD statistics, but at some point, remember financial accounts having larger discrepancies. When aggregating across countries, some elements may reinforce each other, the other cancel out, so a global approach may, of course, be problematic. Regardless, a detailed analysis of discrepancies or what and how is recorded as errors and omissions can lead to uncovering specific elements indicative of IFFs. We have proposed some case studies, but this is not part of specifically of the methodology, although we have some case studies under our section on case studies, which is available on our website, that you can explore there. I am going to share maybe the link in the chat so you can see the case study link and discussions related to that. I hope this answers the questions.
Thanks a lot, Diana. If there is no more questions, I have a message that we can't. No, they are the only questions, and well, thank you all for your active participation through today's session, and it had been a highly enriched day, and we will wait you for tomorrow's is the last date where we will see many of these the next steps and institutional commitments that all the countries involved in this project will are in. And thank you a lot, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue to the programming. Thank you. Wishing you all the very pleasant rest of the day for many of you, or the night, or something else. It depends on where you are. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Diana. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paco.
No,
Thank you. Thanks,
Ali.
see you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot.
No me dejas.
Te podemos sacar si quieres, Paco. Ahí está.